Hello, my name is Brian. In this video I want to talk about the different types of financing and the types that you should get and the types that you should not get. And it really depends on your situation, but I believe there are certain guidelines that should be followed. And in the vending type of business, even if you get into the soda machines, okay, it would be my advice that under no circumstances do you get a secured loan. None at all. Not because it's risky, not because you can't handle it, but because there's no need. I mean, if you... Okay, so I went online the other day and I was looking at used soda machines. You can pick them up all day long for $500. Okay, $500 you could put on a credit card. $500 you could start with candy machines and save your money for a while. And depending on your income, $500 you could take it out of savings. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get $500. Do not, because whatever you secure the loan with is at risk if something happens. I mean, what if you bought a $500, if you're going to secure a brand new one for $1,500? What if you bought a brand new machine and a tornado comes through? Now you got the loan. I mean, first, if you pay cash for it, first case scenario, you lose the machine and $1,500. Second case scenario, you lose the machine and now you got no way to pay your loan back. No secure loans. Now, I told you in an earlier video that I was going to be paying cash for everything, and I am, but not cash on the barrelhead. When I buy the machines or I buy candy or any expenses, I was going to put it on a Discover card because you get 1% cash back. Well, for some reason, I was prompted to Google best cashback credit cards. Now, why cashback? Well, we're talking about cash, and every penny is going to matter as you build your business. So if you're going to buy anyway, it would be nice to be able to make some extra cash on how you finance instead of having to pay the finance charge. Remember, in order to make this work, you have to pay the balance off every month. If you can't do that, then don't do this. But I have done this now for several years. I told you about it in another video. I made about $1,000 over the last 4, 5, 6 years as cash back, and I've pulled that out and put it into a mutual fund. So I went online and I looked, and Discovery used to be the only one. But there's a lot of them that are competing going after Discover. Now, the best one I found is Wells Fargo. And here's the deal. Discover you get 1%, Wells Fargo you get 1.5%. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but think about it. 50% more. I'm getting 50% more cash back now than I was on Discover. That's not all. Under Discover, they have a $1,500 a month maximum that you can earn that on. And I go right up to that most months. On Wells Fargo, it's unlimited. You could put $20,000 on there in a month, and it's 1.5%. That's huge. Especially when we get down to the end where I'm going to be spending $8,000, $9,000, or $1,000 a month just on machines. Not to mention everything else that I'm going to get. That's not all. They have an introductory offer now where if you charge $1,000 over the first 3 months, they're going to give you $200 cash. I spend $1,000 a month easily. So I'll have $3,000 in 3 months. So in 3 months, I'll have $200 that I don't have today. Plus I'll have 50% more than if I'd put it on Discover. Oh, and winner, winner, chicken dinner. This is so funny. So I get approved by Wells Fargo. The next morning in my email, I get a notice from Discover. They gave me an unbelievably high credit limit. They think they know that I got another credit card. They think it's because I need more credit. No, I need more cash back. They addressed the wrong problem, and that's fine. But so, highest cashback credit card that you can find. Now, you have to be careful. Some of them have annual fees. Wells Fargo does not. And if you carry a balance on Wells Fargo, you will pay. It's over 20%. I don't carry a balance, so that's not a big deal to me. But you got to be careful. You have to be disciplined, and if you could do it, this is a great deal. Okay. So, each month, when that bill comes in, I'll be writing a check. And right now, I write a check anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a month on my account. And every year, once or twice, I mess up on the math. My credit union pays the bill, but they charge me a $25 fee to transfer the money from my savings to my checking. Standard, but I don't like that. As the checks get bigger, the chance for me making a mistake is going to also get bigger. So, and again, this was not my idea. I was prompted. I ran to the credit union, asked them how I can get a line of credit on my account. They gave me an application. I filled it out. I took it back 2 hours later with check stubs. They called me back that afternoon and said, we're going to give it to you, $1,000. You don't have to pay anything except when it's used, and it'll be used like if you overdraw your checking account, it will take only what is needed to pay the check. And you can pay it off that month, or you can pay it off over time. If you pay it off right up front, no fees, no charge. That's exactly what I needed. That alone is, and I looked on my statement, I've only done it once this year, but it was $25. $25 is, 2 things of candy for my machine. That's just like giving it away. This is going to protect that. So if that happens again, I can go in, write a check for however much they overdrew it, and I save the $25. That's important. Do it now when you don't need it, but you have to have decent credit. That's important. Those two are a must. Now, this next one, I started doing this about 5 years ago because I knew the ministry had a little bit of cash flow. We had very few bills, but for some reason I was not able to save that money. It's not that I'm not disciplined, I just couldn't do it. So what I did is I went to another credit union, a different credit union, out of town actually, because I had a car finance anyway, and I applied for a personal loan, and I've done that off and on for, 5-6 years. So I get the one I got this year was $1,200. All right, so they send me a check for $1,200, and I write them a check every month for $100. I got $100. The ministry, not me, the ministry has $100, and I keep enough in my savings account to cover the loan payment. So if I have a heart attack tomorrow, I've got enough money in the ministry account to pay off that loan, which I did one time actually. And so this time when I got the loan, I didn't know why I was getting $1,200, but I got $1,200. Well, it works out that between the time I applied and the time we got everything done, got it pointed out to me, hey, you're going to need some operating capital here. Put this amount in the mutual fund and put this amount in the savings account because you're going to need it. Okay. So we got a personal loan, we got protection for your checking account, and a way to make money as you finance your business. Now, again, depending on your position, get started with cash. There's nothing wrong with just because I'm putting it on a credit card does not mean I don't own these. As soon as I write that check, these machines are free and clear. And the money's there to pay for them. So if you can finance it that way, do cash. don't do it like I did when I was young, and I wanted to use OPM. I mean, you can get that. You can find a way to do that, but that usually ends up not well, because you think you can make the payments and you have a couple of bad months and now you can't make the payments and now you're in trouble. So don't do that. And the last one I want to talk about, and when I wrote this one, I was thinking about what a great business this would be for kids. And I don't mean young kids. I mean, tweeners and teenagers who are wanting a job but can't get one that they like, or don't like the hours, or don't like some part about it. I mean, with candy vending machines or honor boxes or soda machines, you can pretty much choose to work as hard as you want. You can start with a relatively little amount of money. So like, if I had to do it all over again and I was, 16, 17, 18, I'd do the crappy jobs I was still doing, but I'd take that money and go buy a little candy machine. And I'd place that, and every time I got $100 that I could spend, I'd go buy another one. Now, that may be slow, but you're 18 years old. By the time you're out of college, you could be making $1,000 a month on your little candy machines. So anyway, and if you can't get the money that way, there's student loans, and there's mom and dad. I would imagine most moms and dads, if they had the money available, would be happy to give their child $100 in exchange for something, so that they could start their own business. I am, actually. She's not using it for that, but whatever. She could. And it is actually $100 a month, now that I think about it. She could take that $100, go buy a machine, place it, and be making an extra $10 a month for infinitum, or 20, or whatever it is. So anyway, different types of financing, different ways to finance. Credit cards that make money, that you pay off every month, but cash back. Line of credit for your checking account in case you run into troubles down the road that you can still pay for, but you made a mistake in your checking account and it just cost you $25. And if you're one of those sad banks where it's $25 per event, per check, so if your big check hits before 5 little ones, the 5 little ones hit and the money is not there, you just spent $125. So get a line of protection for your checking account. Personal loan, and I would do this, if I had the cash flow, I would do this every year, simply because it instead of looking at it like savings, when you have a coupon book, it now takes on the air of a bill. Okay? And so now every month I just write that check out of the ministry account. And now it's a bill. And here we are. We have a mutual fund with thousands of dollars in it, and a savings account, and a checking account, and all because God showed me how to use that little teeny bit of cash flow in the ministry account to bless his account. Cash money, if you can. If you're a kid and you're working some crappy little job, use $100 a month from your crappy little job to go buy a machine and build your future. And lastly, mom and dad. Again, especially if you're a child, ask them what you have to do to get $100 a month, or $100 every 2 months, or whatever. And the last piece of advice on financing: no secure loans, none at all. Do not secure. Do it all with cash. Do it slowly. If you have to, do whatever it is you have to do, but no secure loans. Well, that wraps it up. That talks pretty much about the different types of financing there is, how to use the financing, what not to use, and I hope it was helpful.